Coming up right now, the moment a man turned the tables on a package thief with a baseball bat and a box of P.U.
Also coming up, a woman is removed from a Delta flight because her clothing was too revealing. We want to hear from you on this one.
A little bit later on, what rapper Drake shared that has his fans feeling sick to their stomachs.
My goodness. Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English. We're welcoming you to Daily Flash. I'm apologizing to Andrea because I had Funyuns right before the show started.
I am enjoying all of them. It's like secondhand Funyun.
There's nothing better than Funyuns. I'm telling you, I love them.
Do you dip or do you go straight for the Funyun?
Well, I'm a straight for the Funyun guy. And I was telling Sean as I was walking in, I was like, I love coming into work because I can eat these here. Funyuns are not found at my house.
You're not food shamed at home.
I'm not food shamed. Yeah, that's a good way of calling it. Matt D'Little will be checking in with him. Let's do it right now. Matty, how's your knee, man? I know you were limping around.
Been a little wonky, man. I'm glad we got some partners now that'll help that out. But like,
what'd you do? How'd you hurt?
This
Was
is
it
an
a trampoline thing?
It's an old basketball injury. It's the left side. They're like, you can get surgery or just deal with it. So
his niece actually probably kicked him right in the knee.
it probably. But I mean, I also fell up an escalator and I fall down a lot. So
how does one fall up an escalator?
Oh boy, that's a whole other show. I think.
Yeah, you're right.
I was expecting a trapeze circus story somewhere in this.
Nope, just fell up an escalator.
Okay,
you know how hard that is to do?
It's very hard, I would
difficult.
imagine.
And it sounds like it hurts too.
Yeah.
So Google Flights has got their top travel destinations for the summer of this year. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. Coming in at number one is London.
In London, really?
London,
All right.
yeah, London.
Nice.
Okay, and then we've got Tokyo, Paris.
Okay.
We also have Rome. You sense an expensive flight.
I'm seeing this. Yeah, are they getting deals or a cut of it?
They must be. New York is fifth on the list. Cancun. And then Orlando hits number 7, our hometown of Orlando. And rounding out the top 10, Las Vegas. And we've got Seattle and Athens, Greece. Seattle. Yeah, that was a head scratcher.
I'll drive through Athens, Georgia. That's about as close as Athens. I would love to check out Athens, but it's interesting that they chose all the international flights.
Yeah.
So, and you know about Google, like if you type in say Orlando to New York in your Google, Google will be first, and it'll tell you all these flights. And it's kind of interesting how they have it all laid out. They will tell you like the different airlines, how much it costs, and that sort of thing. So it kind of puts it all together. But then again, you're like, did they pay to get higher results? That's what I get concerned about.
Are they skewing the research for you?
And one thing I can tell you, when you are searching, it helps sometimes if you're on Google to use incognito mode, because airlines will actually take the cookies. They know that you've been there at one time and that you're looking for other jobs. But if you go incognito mode first to find the price, and then it doesn't know that you've been there. So a little tip there. Check that out. Let's jump into some trending stories here. There is some security footage that shows the moment that a suspected package thief walked right into a trap. It was all set up by a, pretty much fed up homeowner. Homeowner said that he was done with the thieves following delivering trucks to his house and then stealing his boxes right off his doorstep. So he decided to try to catch one in the act by leaving a decoy package filled with a little bit of dog doo-doo. And he left it right outside of his front door. Well, video from the home security system shows the suspect entering his yard, approaching the front steps, grabbing a box, trying to stuff it into his backpack. The owner then storms out of the house with a baseball bat. The alleged thief, it's sad we have to say the alleged thief, but tried to take off. Homeowner yanked him to the ground, held him till the cops showed up. Bad guy booked on charges related to stolen property and trespassing. Probably not the first time that he has done it. One of my favorite influencers is Mark Rober.
Okay.
And he is the guy that made the decoy box that tracks, that spins
the glitter
everywhere.
It's a glitter bomb?
Those are good.
Shoots fart spray at you. And he talks about how each time it gets, he's not doing it anymore, but each year he would be more and more complex. And I say, God bless the guy.
Yeah, no kidding.
But not taking the law in your hand might be a little this guy felt confident that he could take this guy,
Well,
but not the
if
best
you
idea.
look at the guy, with the baseball bat, he's clearly an impending figure when you see him running
Yeah.
out toward you.
Exactly.
Well, a woman was escorted off a Delta flight after she was told her clothing was too revealing. Now she's calling for change. Lisa Archibald was flying out of Salt Lake City when she was told to get off the plane after everyone was in their seats. Now she says she was pulled aside and told by flight staff that she needed to cover up because of what she was wearing. Archibald claims she was dressed like a boy in baggy pants and a shirt. She says Delta told her it's their policy that women need to cover up. Now, she was told if she put on a jacket, she could fly. So she agreed. Now, she and her attorney are calling on the airline to change their policy. She's filed an official complaint with the airline and is waiting for a response.
If it's going to cause any kind of disturbance, there's really, you can't just I'm going to pull this plane over on the next stop. You can't do that when you're flying a plane. So if there's something going on and the captain or the crew feels like this might be an issue, however small it is, they're trying to alleviate that. And if they ask you to do it, I think you should pretty much listen. But also, too, why would you do that?
I don't know. And I don't know why you would risk, especially in this day and age of air travel when there's so much air rage right now, to wear something like that to cause so much attention. You know somebody's going to say something on the plane and it's going to turn out into one big giant brawl.
All right. Now, every time I've flown, Matt and I, we've traveled a lot together. It's always freezing on this plane anyway.
Yes, I know.
I want to wear a jacket anyway.
Yeah. Now, she says she was wearing a T-shirt and baggy pants, but I have a feeling that there was probably a lot more or a lot less to this outfit.
Or something like that is what
Yeah.
it looked like.
If the word's revealing, that's what you think about that.
Great. Well, and speaking of clothing, check this out. Drake fans didn't realize just how much perspiration he produces while performing on stage. You may have to look away on this one. Fans of the 37-year-old Canadian crooner were both disgusted and delighted with one of his latest Instagram posts. He included a short video showing him peeling off his sweat-soaked T-shirt before wringing out a bucket load of perspiration.
Right.
The overwhelming majority
that's
of his followers were left feeling a little sick after watching the clip. We're losing all of our camera operators right now, and I don't blame them. Although the singer's clothing managed to soak up most of his sweat, he left a lot of it behind in a giant puddle on the stage floor. Mop and glow, baby.
You let somebody else clean it up after that.
Okay, me every morning in August around here.
Well, I see you're like sweating all the time.
Drenched,
I've never seen anybody sweat more than Maddie.
That's a Tuesday in Florida in July.
So back in the 90s, he's still around, Sammy Kershaw. He's a country music musician. And he was selling perfume made from his sweat. And what he would do, he would go out on stage and wear these pads. I'm not even making it up. And people were buying this stuff. When he was at his highest point, anybody would do anything. But they would do that, he'd take it off, because you're up on stage and under the lights and you're running around, you are sweating a lot. I just don't want to see squinching out sweat out of the shirt. Then they would take off the pads and they'd take it to the perfume company and then they would make the perfume out of his sweat. My hand to the heavens, you can Google it if you don't believe me. It's the craziest thing in the world.
Well, I guess there's something to pheromones and sweat that back in the prehistoric days, that was supposed to be the way like men and women were attracted to one another, right?
And at the time, his biggest hit was cleaning my double wide trailer. So, which makes it even funnier, right?
Oud de Double Wide?
Yes,
Is that what it
would
was?
be, by Sammy Kershaw. A brave mom conquered brain surgery fears by singing Taylor Swift songs during her life-saving procedure. Selena Champon, she learned that she would be actually going under brain surgery, and she had to stay awake, and she was terrified. But when a surgeon suggested a way to overcome her fears is by singing. That keeps patients awake for these kinds of brain surgery. Actually helps doctors know what to touch during the procedure. Her tumor, for instance, was located in the part of her brain responsible for her speech and motor capability. Patients should be able to recite their name, repeat words or phrases, or even just talk in general. Doc had her sing Taylor Swift songs. She actually felt nothing during the procedure and only recalls vaguely hearing "Shake It Off" while it was under the knife. I wouldn't use the word "shake" where there's a knife along. Do you remember there was a video of a guy who was a violinist?
Yep.
And do you remember this?
Yes.
And he was getting brain surgery, literally playing the
He
violin.
didn't want to lose his ability to play, so he wanted to keep doing it during the procedure.
And it was just like, you probably might have seen like cartoons or whatever. My understanding, there is part of the brain, so you hit it and their hands would go up. You don't know what the brain can control or whatever. But can you imagine that? I don't think I could stay awake, knowing that what's going on with your brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just knives and everything.
But you have to.
You have to,
in
because-
order
right.
for them to do the surgery and make sure that they're,
Yeah.
not damaging a certain part of it or making sure that they're working around it. I'm with you. I don't think I can.
Okay.
I'm singing Weird Al songs the whole time.
Well, yeah, you do that anyway.
Do Weird Al.
Okay, so you guys, we've all had been under.
Yeah.
You ever do anything crazy when you wake up?
Not that I'm aware of.
I almost ran through a wall when I got my wisdom teeth out.
Oh,
Really?
I
You
got
just,
up and
"See
got
you later."
ragey and almost went through a wall.
how about you?
You did that on your wedding night. I apparently am a hugger and went around and hugged every nurse. And my wife at the time was like, what are you doing? I go, oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll hug you when we come back, but it won't be me. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. Mitch English here. All right, right now I'm actually going to reveal something to the world that actually I've kept secret for many years. Dramatic pause here. Andrea Jackson actually ghosted me during hosting duties way back in the day. How awkward now is that she and I do this amazing show called Daily Flash. Okay? Actually, I'm joking. No, she never ghosted me. But what do you do when you see a person who just, disappeared on you? You're in a relationship or you were hanging out and all of a sudden you never heard anymore. Joining us now to talk about all of this is relationship expert, Dr. Janie Lacey. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Lacey. How are you?
I am doing a wonderful, Mitch, and I'm so sorry to hear about your ghosting experience.
It was sad. It's sad, but somehow Jackson and I worked our way through it. It's happened, man. And whether it's on a business kind of situation or maybe a relationship as well, being ghosted, it's so awkward because, all right, you have to explain what happened. What's some of the common reactions, maybe even emotions people might experience when they see a person that's actually ghosted them?
I think when people are ghosted, it's going to bring up so many different emotions, Mitch, and that's normal. Normal in the sense that, well, what happened? But first, let's think about what ghosting is, right?
Okay.
So somebody wants to end that relationship, but I would say they don't have enough maturity to have that conversation with the person. So they just do it suddenly. They just withdraw from all communication. And you're like, well, what happened? So what's going to happen is that person's going to be asking a lot of questions. Well,
Sure.
Is it me? Did I do something wrong? So, when we find these situations, it's very, very hurtful, Mitch, regardless of whose fault it is. It leaves the person who was ghosted with a lot of questions and hurt feelings.
And it's only up to them to speculate what happened because, well, you ghosted them. You weren't there to defend yourself. So I think they're okay to feel that way until they get any kind of resolution. What's the first thing someone actually should do when they see that person again that had just ghosted them?
A lot of times when people have these unanswered questions and then let's say they're out and about, they did not expect to actually see this person and wow, there they are. I always tell people the first thing you need to do is you just need to keep yourself together. Stay calm, don't have any reaction, and then do some type of internal check. In that moment, you can think about, okay, well, how do I feel? Am I still angry? Do I want to go and run up and choke that person? Or have I moved on? Because that's going to dictate how you either interact or how you don't interact with that person. So the first thing I always suggest is Mitch, is to stay calm and do not react.
Okay, so when you say that, it's like just don't let their presence, bother them. Let it bother you is all. I guess it's giving that confidence back because there was something that they didn't want to reveal to you, I guess, about that. So I can imagine that. What's some other things that we should do after we've done that? We don't run off. We confront it. We deal with it. We say, listen, we're not going to let this bother us. What should we be doing in our mind while we're talking to them?
In that moment when you first decide, have I moved on? Am I angry at this person? Is there something unresolved? Is then you want to choose your response, right? Do you want to have a conversation with them, Mitch, or do you want to just acknowledge their presence, maybe a brief nod or just some type of acknowledgement, or do you want to just ignore them altogether? So once you kind of assess your feelings, stay calm, choose your response, and then that's going to dictate what their next move is. But if you do choose to have a conversation with them, you want to remember that you may not get any type of closure. So I always suggest keep it light, right? Maybe if you just want to say, hi, how are you doing? You want to act cool, calm, collected, no big deal, just be polite. But the most important thing, as I tell people, is to read the situation, right? Read the room.
Right.
So if they're coming up and they don't want to talk to you, Mitch, then you probably should not try to force the situation because you're going to re-injure yourself. But if they're keeping it light and they want to have some type of polite conversation with you and you choose to engage in that, then do so. But I would say prioritize your well-being, especially if it was a hurtful situation, because a lot of times people want to seek closure and come at this person. What happened? Why did you not communicate with me? And you're only going to hurt yourself. So stay confident through the whole encounter. If you choose to engage with them, if you choose not to engage with them, acknowledge them and move it on. Keep it moving.
I agree with you 100% on that. And it sounds easy to do, but really it takes a lot because a lot of emotions come back to when you see that person all together. And I guess if you can keep in mind, something that's always worked for me at least, is that anybody that is in your life wants to be in your life. If that person doesn't, then what's the sense even having them around? If they want to be in your life, they will be. And I guess they took off. So very good stuff there. And if you want to find out more information, of course, maybe get some help with relationships, you could actually check out Janie Lacey at lifecounselingsolutions.com. Go there and check out that and so much more. Love having you on. Janie Lacey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, just for the record, I never ghosted Mitch.
Well, I tend to disagree.
All right, you've likely heard the saying, the higher the hair, the closer to heaven.
Yeah.
Yet big old hair making a big old comeback. Rolled curls, teased bouffants, spiky mullets, and shag do's are trending on social media. Yep, thanks to celebs like Miley Cyrus at the Grammys, the big hair trends are taking over the runways and the red carpets. Style experts say if it's big, loud, and expressive, it is on point right now in the fashion industry. One fashion insider says there's been a spike in customers wanting to look like 80s pop icons like Robert Smith from The Cure or Susie of Susie and the Banshees. And he's expecting a full-on 80s hair revival. One hair historian says big hair was a status symbol during the Reagan years, and it also allowed women to take up space along with those big shoulder pads. It's being called the latest statement for anyone who wants to fill their social screens with big hair as the ultimate power move.
There's also why we have no ozone with all that Aquanet. Remember that? It was crazy, man.
Did you have the big hair?
I had a beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous mullet. But it went all the way down. It was a mullet mohawk, and it came down about right here. I wish I just wish I had, any kind of hair up there.
I think the mullet is the perfect disguise for a number of different hairstyles. The mullet mohawk, that's a perfect combination.
But the best part about the mullet is now I've seen women actually have the mullets, and they're almost kind of sporting it as well. They actually are making it work more than I was able to do. I'm just saying they do it. They make it work. But no, it's not.
Okay.
I tell you what, we're going to have some business in the front. We're going to do right now, and a party in the back.
I like it.
Return. Stick around.
Hey guys, welcome to Doing It This Week with Matt Doolittle. And we did it with the amazing Sting and Billy Joel this last weekend. Myself, Mitch, and the greatest Tim Tebow impersonator I know, Travis Dale, headed over to Tampa to see their tour. It was amazing. These are the safe for work photos I can send you. And Billy was always on my list to see before he fully retires. So it was absolutely amazing. The weather was great. And if you get the chance, you need to come party with us sometimes. Trust me. This was basically my third bachelor party, we'll put it that way. Now, we'd love to show you some of the video from the concert with the music in the background. However, due to some copyright laws, we can't play the audio. However, joining me in the flashback room is Mr. Mitch English to give us his versions of the songs for you as, they did them in the concert. First up, Mitch, can we get to see Sting?
Oh, yeah.
We got to see Sting. So can you please give us the rendition of the song he did? Ready?
All right, yeah.
For Brand New Day.
Brand New Day. Let's start up. It was awesome. Everybody was screaming there. It was like, brand new day. It was awesome.
It was great. Great rendition there, buddy. Now, we move on to Billy Joel. And you can give us a little bit of Uptown Girl.
So then everybody was all like, oh, Uptown Girl.
Okay, I think we're right in the infringement time. Okay, and now, what about a little bit of Start the Fire?
That one got everybody going.
That he finished the show with.
It was awesome.
Yeah, so it was one of those concerts where if you get a chance, you've got to go see those things. Mitch, what did you kind of take away from it overall?
I took away that no matter what, if Sting plays, he'll do Roxanne.
He'll do Roxanne, because you finally remembered seeing
remember
it.
hearing
'Cause I found the picture and the video of you literally standing there like this seeing it. Sting likes to drag out the concert a lot. And the guys, everybody at the bathrooms looked like Billy Joel.
Everybody gets to that age like we did. It looks just like Billy Joel.
Now, it was a $55 t-shirt on top of all that and $20 beers, so make sure you bring enough cash with you. Thank you, Mitch. And if anyone wants to know what it's like to hang out with us on the weekends, there's a look into the proper Doing It segment with Sting and Billy Joel. Andrea, when are you gonna join us on one of these trips? Come on, you know you want to.
As soon as I get an invitation from you guys. I know it's been sort of bachelors only recently, so I would love to be a part of the next trip. Well, Fabian Marcano from Daily Flash Latino joins us now for our relationship refresh. Fabian, welcome back,
guys. I'm not used to being in the middle, but it feels very interesting.
You were in the middle today.
I love it. Relationships is about being in the middle. Well, and with the massive service outage that we had recently, you guys had that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It brought this topic to my head. How would people in the world today react if they didn't have service specifically for the single people out there to meet others? How would they do that today?
Well, yeah. The whole thing was you always went to the supermarket, and that seemed like that was a good place because you can kind of tell about a person like what's in their shopping cart.
Produce section.
The produce section. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
The produce section.
But no, it's true because they're eating healthy,
thing,
right?
okay.
And if they're feeling the melons too much, then you worry maybe there's something going on.
Okay, so like I was thinking maybe like a library was the thing back in the day.
that'd be kinda alright, yeah.
You know, school maybe, universities and stuff like that, maybe, possibly, no?
Well, the only thing I'd say about a library is you have to talk kind of slow. And it sounds really creepy. It's like, so what's your name?
Yeah, that would kind of be, yeah. What book are you reading?
Work is probably the #1 place to meet people because it's a coworker, you're kind of familiar with them. I know that the dating rules at certain kinds of workplaces vary, but that seems to be one of the more authentic places to meet, and through friends too.
You usually see somebody and they're as close to their natural element as they possibly can at work generally. You can see how they handle stuff, right?
Yeah.
I've heard recently about, work wives and work husbands. That's a new thing I've heard about.
Well, Jackson and I, 20 years together. So.
Hey, but check this out. A recent survey from Pew Research discovered that 74% of adult users on the internet who report that the internet had an impact on their marriage or partnership say that the impact was positive.
Okay.
Still, 20% said mostly was negative, and 4% said it was both good and bad. On the other hand, 41% of those 18 to 29-year-olds in serious relationships have felt closer to their partner because of internet or text message conversations.
I think text message is really valuable because, I don't like talking on the phone, but if I just want to let my wife, she's across the country right now, if I just want to let her know I'm thinking of her, a text message is great. I can just send it, and then she can read it wherever she wants. So I could see how texting would help.
However, the text messages early on in the relationship are far different than when you're 5 years into the relationship.
Yes,
Very good point. And some things get lost in translation too.
Yes,
like you can read thing one way and it's like, no, I didn't mean it like that at all.
Very true, and the tone is different too.
Right.
When you text something, you don't really know how they feel or what they're actually trying to tell you. That's why I think it made an advancement, like you said. It kind of pushed into the future, I guess, with the text message. You can quickly text somebody, tell them exactly how you feel, or tell them what you want to say. But I feel like it actually kind of made us draw back a little bit because now we don't want to talk on the phone.
That's true. Well, I just said, I don't
hear
like
a
talking.
voice.
Right, yeah.
But FaceTime's a thing now.
That not only that, your phone also tells you where you're at. So if you're somewhere you're not supposed to be.
Location services.
I can see that being
that
a
in
problem
mind.
too.
And the eggplant in the produce department is a whole new meaning. I'm just saying.
Thank you, Fabian, for rehash. Of course, if you want to check out Daily Flash Latino, go to dailyflashlatino.com. Check your local listings and times.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. We are so happy to have you here. We'll be checking out Matt Doolittle a little bit later on in the show. And one of the things that, call it frustrating me, but it seems like every app that plays a video, you're able to look at it, and then it's on vertical, and then if you go like this, it takes up the whole screen, right? Except for Facebook, they have never done it. Well, Zuckerberg has just announced that Meta will be releasing a horizontal mode finally for the videos that you watch, whether it be on Reels or if it's on the Facebook altogether. You can still now watch it and pause it, fast forward 10 seconds if you'd like to. And also it's going to come with recommendations. Gee, a lot like you would see on YouTube. I wonder where you got those ideas. 2 billion Reels are sent every year by people. So like you get a reel from somebody, you want to send to somebody else. So obviously it just took them this long to realize people would like to see it, take up the whole screen. You have all that real estate. Why just use it there? So look for that to be rolling out soon from Meta.
And I'm assuming that's for both Instagram and Facebook, right?
Well, right now they said Meta, so usually that's the umbrella, but I imagine so. But they are saying right now just Facebook.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't see.
Probably testing it on Facebook, and then they'll
get all the bugs
sharpen
out.
it up. Well, security footage shows the moment a suspected package thief walked right into a trap set by a fed-up homeowner. The homeowner said he was done with thieves following delivery trucks to his house and then stealing his parcels right from his doorstep. So he decided to try and catch one in the act by leaving a decoy package filled with dog poo outside the front door. Video from the home security system shows the suspect in the yard approaching the front steps. He comes out with a giant bat and he is fending his property. The owner then storms out. The alleged thief tried to take off, but the homeowner yanked him to the ground and held him down until police arrived. The bad guy was booked on charges related to stolen property and trespassing, he should be.
If you see that video again, and of course you can go to our website, dailyflashshow.com. You can watch the show and see it there. He, I think, realizes what's in it.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see him when they picked it up? He's like,
puts it back.
I don't want that.
That guy knows where a few bodies are probably buried. So he's used that bat a few times.
And how fluid he was with it shows me, at least, that I don't think this was the first time he's done it. This is a guy, a chronic guy.
Yeah.
And he says he's been following the delivery trucks around, so they know where things are left. So I kind of like this, but again, when people take the law in their own hands, you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I think what's frustrating, because I think this guy lives in New York or outside of New York, one of the boroughs, is that, they catch these guys and they book them, but then they're released like an hour later.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, right?
You can understand the frustration that a lot of these homeowners are experiencing when nothing gets done.
Right, which is probably why he went out, as you just said.
Sometimes it's on the delivery guy too, because I have very specific where I want my stuff put, and sometimes they just throw it outside. It's like it's in the order, and there's literally a sign on the door, put the packages here, and they don't do it.
My wife, she worked for a company then. She had a lot of samples, and she would leave them out there and say, hey, thanks for working hard. And they would always nicely leave it up there. And I think they remember that sort of thing. A woman was escorted off a Delta flight after she was told that her clothing a little too revealing. Now she wants change. Lisa Archibald, she was flying out of Salt Lake City. She was told to get off the plane after everyone was in their seats. She said that she was pulled aside, told by the flight staff that she needed to cover up because of what she was wearing. She claims that she was dressed like a boy in baggy pants and a shirt. She says that Delta told her that it's her policy that women need to cover up. They told her, hey, put on a jacket, you can fly. She agreed, but now she's suing. She wants the airline to change their policy. She's filed an official complaint with the airline, now waiting for a response. I think they were going to put the jacket on anyway because those planes always get cold. But show a little bit of decorum. What's wrong with that these days? Right?
It doesn't hurt to just throw a jacket on and work with people.
Work with us.
Be agreeable.
More Flash after this.
Attention Daily Flash fans. Ever dreamt of being part of the action? Now's your chance. Join our exclusive virtual audience and experience the show like never before. Get a special credit on the show, interact with our fabulous hosts, chat with producers, and guess what? Some lucky participants might even find themselves on a massive billboard in iconic locations like New York's Times Square, Los Angeles' Sunset Strip, Miami, or Atlanta. Don't miss out on this electrifying opportunity. Sign up now by heading over to Blyzeal.com and be a star with the Daily Flash virtual audience.
All right, get ready to make your life easier and your home smarter. Tech expert Mark Salzman is joining us with the latest ideas that will help you upgrade your space. Hey there, Mark. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, and thanks for having me on the Daily Flash. Yes, I've partnered with a few great brands today that I think will help improve your smart home experience.
All right, man, with allergies, pets, and everything in between, how can we actually get the cleanest air possible in our homes?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'd say a smart air purifier is where it's at. This is the Levoit Vital 200S. It's super powerful as it tackles pet fur, allergens like pollen, my nemesis, odors, all the stuff we don't want to breathe. It cleans a big space quickly. Plus, the app gives you total control as you can check your home's air quality from anywhere. You can even set schedules. And it's super quiet. You barely know it's there. For me, it's all about cleaner air and total convenience. You can find out more at Levoit.com.
Well, online shopping, it's amazing, but packages sitting on the porch actually could be really tempting. What's a simpler way to keep them safe?
Well, if you're an Amazon Prime member, as I am, you're going to want to check out Amazon Key in-garage delivery. So instead of leaving packages out in the open, making them vulnerable to porch pirates, they go right into your garage, which also protects them from bad weather. It works with most smart garages, so setup is a breeze, and you just select in-garage delivery at checkout, and the delivery driver does the rest. You can even customize when and how you use it, so you're totally in control. Learn more at Amazon.com/try Amazon Key.
All right, well, how can we create smarter home security that actually fits our needs?
Sure. Well, the Vivint smart home system is a standout for that because everything works together seamlessly. One central hub and app controls all your devices. So with one tap or click, you can lock your doors, shut your garage, check your cameras, and lower your thermostat, all while sitting on the couch, or from anywhere, really. With Vivint, you can start simple, like, say, their Doorbell Camera Pro and, say, smart locks, and then add on as you go. It's modular. It's true customization. Check it out at Vivint.com.
All right, finally, you got an easy way to make our outdoor spaces maybe smarter?
I do. It's the Sync Outdoor Smart Plug. It's perfect because it can control all sorts of things outside your home. You simply use the Sync app to control your patio lights, water fountain, a pool pump, or for me, control my smart grill from anywhere. The best part is setting schedules, like having lights automatically turn on at sundown, all without lifting a finger. Plus, each socket can be controlled individually or grouped together. It's really an easy and affordable way to upgrade your outdoor and patio space. Find it at Lowe's stores and at Lowe's.com.
Awesome, Mark. Where can folks go if they want more information?
Head on over to inthenews.tv for links and more info. Thanks for having me.
All right, you might be wondering about the latest on home prices or what the real estate outlook looks like. Here to answer those questions and more is Kevin Sears, 2024 president of the National Association of Realtors.
With the spring buying season in full swing, many Americans are contemplating whether now is a good time to buy or sell a home. Higher mortgage rates, limited housing inventory, and competition for the few houses on the market are some of the many reasons that sellers and buyers should work with an agent who is a realtor to find the right home and negotiate the terms of a sale. In fact, according to the National Association of Realtors, while mortgage rates are nearly double those seen during the first 2 years of the pandemic, they are still considered historically low. Nationally, single-family existing home prices climbed 5% over the past year to a median price of $389,400. Also, greater than 90% of the country's metro areas experienced home price growth in the first quarter of 2024, despite facing the highest mortgage rates in nearly 2 decades. Moreover, home ownership continues to be a catalyst for more Americans to be able to build generational wealth. To learn more about realtors and to find a real estate agent, visit Realtor.com.
Our website's always open for you. You can find that information and so much more when you go to dailyflashshow.com.
Living with arthritis isn't easy, believe me. Even the smallest of tasks can result in pain and stiffness. Our medical expert, Ken Redcross, is here to tell you which foods can make things more bearable in the latest Dr. Ken Redcross to the Rescue Health Minute.
Did you know a few simple changes in your diet can help manage arthritis symptoms and flare-ups? A diet of well-rounded and nutritious choices is the best way to reduce inflammation and manage arthritis pain. Salmon, tuna, and sardines are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which can help reduce inflammatory proteins in the body. Experts recommend eating 3 to 4 ounces of fish per week. Add berries, cherries, oranges, leafy greens, broccoli, and bell peppers to your diet because they are packed with antioxidants and polyphenols, which combat inflammation and provide essential nutrients for joint health. Choose whole grains such as brown rice, quinoa, whole wheat bread. These fiber-rich options have a lower glycemic index and promote stable blood sugar levels, reducing inflammation. Almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds are excellent sources of anti-inflammatory nutrients like omega-3s, vitamin B6, fiber, and antioxidants. Sprinkle them on a salad, yogurt, or just enjoy them as a snack. Arnicare Arthritis Cream can also be used at the first sign of a minor arthritis pain flare-up. This unscented topical medicine is scientifically formulated with arnica and harpagophytum for dual-action pain relief to reduce minor stiffness, soreness, and joint pain associated with arthritis in a quickly absorbed cream. By embracing an anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle, you can take steps towards managing your arthritis and improving the quality of your life. I'm Dr. Ken Redcross with another Dr. Redcross to the Rescue Health Minute.
There are more than 1 million active duty, National Guard, and Reserve military spouses in the United States, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation's Hiring Our Heroes is a nationwide initiative to help veterans. Elizabeth O'Brien, Executive Director, Hiring Our Heroes, and Mike Kelly, Assistant Vice President, USAA, join us now to tell us more.
You know, military spouses are a population that's 92% female, and we are currently unemployed at a rate of 21%. For the last 2 decades, I've been an active duty military spouse, and at one point, we lived 7 places in 9 years. So you can imagine, as you're 10 times more likely to move over state lines, that finding meaningful employment quickly becomes a significant challenge. The good news is, in partnership with great organizations like USAA, Hiring Our Heroes has built a robust offering of programs that are created to serve military spouses who want to go to work.
We work with organizations like Hiring Our Heroes, who have created a national coalition of companies that are committed to hiring veterans and military spouses to connect them with meaningful careers at USAA.
To find more information on us, you can head on over to hiringourheroes.org or look us up on LinkedIn under Hiring Our Heroes.
With childhood drowning incidents on the rise and as water activity season is upon us, the National Drowning Prevention Alliance is here to help. Adam Karchmarkchi, he's the executive director of the NDPA, has more.
This summer season, we want parents to be working with a full set of information so they can make the proper water safety decisions for their children. One of those is also on how drowning actually presents. It does not present like it would in a TV show or a movie where the victim may have their arms flailing in the air and calling for help. Drowning is fast and it is silent. It can happen in as little as 20 to 60 seconds, and it can be completely silent as a child would be submerged under the water. Another important fact to keep in mind is drowning is the single leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 4 in the country, and about 70% of our toddler drownings are happening during non-swim times. So NDPA is reminding parents all across this country to practice the 5 layers of protection. It's important to keep in mind that each of these strategies have to work together to truly reduce the risk of drowning, as one single strategy is not enough to fully and completely eliminate the risk of drowning. The first layer of protection is barriers and alarms, restricting access to water, especially during non-swim times. We recommend for backyard pools the use of a 4-sided isolation fence. Second is supervision. We should practice close, constant, and capable adult supervision anytime children are expected to be around the water, and even for our weekend non-swimmers, we encourage touch supervision where you can reach out and touch your child at any time. The third layer of protection is water competency. NDPA reminds parents that the first sport you should enroll your child in this summer is learning to swim. All other sports such as football, baseball, yoga, and soccer are all really exciting to participate in with our children, but none of them are as life-saving as swimming is. The fourth layer of protection is the appropriate use of life jackets when in, on, or around natural bodies of water or anytime you're boating. And that doesn't just go for the kids. We also remind adults to practice good life jacket wear as well. And then the fifth layer is emergency preparedness. Remember, drowning is an accident. It happens when we least expect it to. So knowing what to do in an emergency and how to call out for help, including how to perform CPR with rescue breaths, is critically important. Again, not one of those layers is enough to fully prevent drowning on their own, but by working together, those evidence-based prevention strategies can significantly reduce the risk of drowning. To learn more about the facts about drowning, to learn more what drowning looks like, and to learn more about the 5 layers of protection, including why swimming should be the first sport you enroll your child in, visit ndpa.org/firstsport to learn more.
Physical and mental health go hand in hand. Joining us to discuss summer camp and your child's mental health is the medical advisor for Serious Fun Children's Network, Dr. Laura Blaisdell.
When you're talking about positive childhood events and experiences and the Serious Fun camps, I mean, Serious Fun camps are the epitome of a positive childhood experience. You know, the Serious Fun camps mission is to increase access to the positive childhood event of camp to all children and families with serious illnesses. And these are children who otherwise would not have access to this powerful experience. How do we do that? Across our 30 camps and programs, we're providing 24/7 access to medical care. We're providing adaptive programming to meet the needs of each individual camper. We're providing alternative programming like parents' weekends or family weekends so for those campers for whom the overnight experience might not be appropriate at that point in time in their life. So it's through this method that Serious Fun delivers on its mission. For more information about the Serious Fun Children's Network, you can go to seriousfun.org.
This is Tim. Tim is all about time, and if you've ever had a chance to look into Tim's cold, dead eyes, you'll see that it's time for you to follow us on social media. Sure, there's 10,000 social sites out there, and we don't have the time to name them all. Seriously, just ask Tim. So take the time to look for Daily Flash TV on your favorite social sites and start following us. That's all the time, Tim. Goodbye.
Hey, before we head into the weekend, we always like to give you our picks for streaming for the weekend. This is where we tell you something you got to check out on your streaming services. Matt, we're going to start with you.
Well, I'm a little bit of a race fan, and
Yeah,
Netflix put this docuseries out that's amazing. It's called NASCAR Full Speed. Check it out.
Playoff berths are on the line.
When I feel like a wreck is about to happen, I get out of the hornet's nest.
Then he's had enough.
Very proud of his spidey sense.
And you get to go behind the scenes and see what it takes to be a NASCAR driver and get a real in-depth look at the driver. And like I've had to explain to people forever, it's not just rednecks turning left. There's a lot more involved. So now hopefully this shows it.
Yeah.
So,
They're
you've been in the
athletes for
pits
sure.
with me, so.
It's amazing out there, right? Hey, if you guys are looking for an irreverent comedy, Peter Farrelly gives us Louder Milk, now streaming on Prime.
I'd like a large coffee.
Okay, room for cream.
Totally leave room for cream.
Why are you so rude, man?
Just stop doing that.
Louder milk! Louder milk.
Louder Milk.
Louder milk. Okay, we're done with
And this show stars Matt Doolittle. I'm sorry, that's Ron Livingston as Sam Loudermilk. He's a recovering alcoholic that discovers that when your life's a complete mess, just actually getting clean is the easy part. If you like the Farrelly Brothers, there's a tinge of that Farrelly Brothers humor, but inappropriate stuff that makes you, it's uncomfortable to watch, but you learn a lesson at the end.
I love Ron Livingston. I
He's
think
great.
he's so underrated.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
100%.
My pick for this week is the Netflix true crime doc American Nightmare.
There's blood in your house.
Do you know where she is?
I didn't do anything. Yeah, you did.
Oh my God, it's her.
I just got a message. She's walking over to my house.
One of the most bizarre stories. Originally, it was billed as a Gone Girl kind of thing, but once you get deep into it, there's so many twists and turns. It's unbelievable what this couple went through. I don't want to give too much away because it's worth watching, but you will be stunned by the outcome of this documentary.
These documentaries, obviously, all based on fact, and I imagine news clips and everything that happened through there as well. I love that. Right now, I got that one.
Well,
I love my docs.
true crime, it's so addictive.
Isn't that crazy? Even not only for TV, but for like for podcasts.
I always have to keep myself from going to Wikipedia and finding out what really happened before it ends. I'm always like, no.
Yeah, just find, see how it, because they always give you that twist at the end.
Yeah.
And if you know it, it kind of takes it away. That does it for our show. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Be good, everybody. For more information, head to our website, dailyflashshow.com.
Bye-bye, everyone.
you.